And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now. You've said that you cannot teach a man or tell a man how to be a man. So I will not ask you to indict men in this question. But I do want you to speak, Iyanla, to how women need to, position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes. They're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Would you date a bus driver? Would you date
if
a bus
he owns
driver?
the bus? If he owns it, if he owns the bus,
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay. Because the standards and requisites, and I'm not talking about him laying on his sofa playing video games all day. I'm not talking about that. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus.
What up, YouTube? I'm back. And we're just going to jump into the thick of things with this Eboni K. Williams chick. Now, let me just say this. I know bus drivers, and I know a few of them personally. So her attitude was unwarranted, and her ignorance was unwarranted. If you're used to dating a certain caliber of man, then you date that man. That's in your caliber. That's your standard. But don't talk down on bus drivers. Why would you do that? There's nothing wrong with them because they don't own a bus. Maybe a bus driver might own something else. But you can't see that far because, bus drivers and people of that nature, blue collar, are not on your radar. Professional women don't always like to date blue collar. So, you want to talk down on them. Why? Date who you want to date. Nobody care who you dating. And the way you talk, you sound a little hypocritical yourself from what I know, but that's another story for another day. But bus drivers, they do a lot. They work hard, and they have things they do on the side as well to make them more money, at least the ones that I know. So, your statement is just blanket stupid. Made no sense. And your attitude sucked. You knew Iyanla was talking to you when she asked you would you date a bus driver, but you tried to act like you didn't hear her. You're the only two having a conversation. Don't act ignorant. You know what she said. You might not want to answer that question, but you end up answering it anyway. And with your attitude, with your body language, it showed everything we need to know. And where you stand on stuff like that. And personally, they don't even care. Hell, I'm here talking to you. I don't even care. Your statement, your ignorance, your everything about you just reeks of attitude. That you're just too good for certain type of people. So, might I suggest this? Just stay in your lane and don't talk about anybody else. That way there won't be any backlash when you say something stupid. But you still have stuff to say. You always got something to say. Now this next clip here, the one that's the highlight of this video, is her once again coming out her face and not staying in her place. Here we go.
Are availing ourselves to all of the options that our hard work and circumstances currently afford us. And that means that single motherhood by choice is going to be an option that more and more Black women consider and even exercise. So anybody that's in their feelings about that can go ahead and start to process right now. Because Black women that have the privilege to embark upon this expensive and oftentimes lengthy process will increasingly decide to forego marriages and partnerships that do not serve us and that are not in our best interests. And now that bypassing those insufficient relationships does not have to come at the expense of motherhood, well, frankly, it's a whole new world. A world in which Black women are no longer subject to the desperation of being chose, because now we get to do the choosing. And as we choose, we do have to contend with the reality of a dismally small supply of Black sperm. Because most Black women on this journey, we want to create children that look like us and that look like our families, and that means we want Black sperm. And as we heard from Reese Brooks, it's the definition of slim pickings, and sometimes that means compromising on this aspect of your journey. Now, I am extremely fortunate that I was able to secure 2 vials of Black sperm from California Cryobank when I embarked on this part of my journey last fall. But I do know that I am an outlier. So I've got 2 concrete tips for single Black women who think this may be an option, either now or maybe later. Number 1, please check out Reproductive Village. It's a new Black-owned cryobank, and it's designed to help with this shortage of Black sperm. It's set to open its doors in D.C. later this year, and it will also have drop-off locations in Atlanta and Houston, Texas. And number 2, be proactive. I say go ahead and start looking right now for desirable Black sperm. You register with all 4 of the big cryobanks, and this includes California Cryobank, which I used, Seattle Sperm Bank, Fairfax Cryobank, and Zytex. Then you can scan the current options for Black sperm. And if you see some sperm that you like, I suggest go ahead and buying at least 2 vials right now. Even if you do not intend to use them anytime soon, trust me, it's better to have them than to be without them when the time comes. And listen, if you never need them for whatever reason, what a wonderful gift to give to a friend or a sorority sister in need. And also, most of those banks, they allow you to resell the sperm back to the bank itself. Listen, I know that many are going to question or even indict the decision that I and many other Black women are making to become single mothers by choice.
So now she's out here promoting single motherhood by choice. Like there's a shortage of Black sperm, as she's saying. There's no shortage of Black sperm. There's a shortage of decent relationships, but there's not a shortage of Black sperm. Now, why would you want to promote something that we know statistically is incorrect? Single motherhood. Why would we even want to do that to these kids in this day and age and put them at a statistical disadvantage in this day and age? Why? Why would we want to listen to her about being a single mother? That's not a good deal. That's not something that you really even want to consider. Now, I know some of you ladies, you want to have kids, and that's fine, but do you really want to be a single mom? It didn't work like that back in the day, and it's definitely not going to work now. Why? For what? You can't cooperate enough with a man for y'all to have a type of relationship you could have kids together and have a family? Family is not in your future, it's not in your cards. Y'all can't be that out of it that you can't cooperate with a man. A good one. Now, I ain't talking about Pookie and Ray Ray, the ones you like sleeping up and getting pregnant by. No, I'm not talking about those dudes. I'm talking about a regular, decent dude. Or is it that you can't tell which one is decent, which one is not? I'm sure you can. You just ignore the fact that they're not giving you that thing, that adventurous thing, that thing that gives you life. But there's no shortage of Black sperm. Clearly not. If a lot of your women out here are already pregnant and have kids. So clearly there's not a shortage of Black sperm. You can get the sperm anytime you want. But the man behind the sperm, that's what you don't want. Y'all don't pick the right one. Then you end up in a whole bunch of garbage, stress, headaches, and the first thing you want to do is blame it on homeboy. Why blame it on him? You knew he wasn't anything. You knew he wasn't shit. Laid up with him, got your black sperm, got your kid. Now you complaining that you struggling, that he ain't do you right. All along you knew the flags were there and you ignored them. So now we got this chick promoting the same thing you're already doing anyway. And for the rest of y'all that want kids, hey, do what you're going to do. But in the long run, just remember, in the long term, you and that kid, he's going to have something missing from his life that needed direction from a man, period. And I wish this chick would really stop saying things that are detrimental to people and make no sense in this day and time. Why can't she just shut the hell up and do her? Stop promoting single motherhood like it's a badge of honor, like it's something to do, like it's something to acquire. It's not. A full family structure is what should be the thing to be promoted, and nothing else. I'm sorry if you had a guy, had a man, didn't work out, became a single mother. I'm sorry for that. And fellas, this one goes for y'all too. Stop getting these chicks pregnant that you don't want to have kids with. You've seen flags too, and you've ignored them as well. All this contributing stuff to these bad relationships, yes, we're all a part of it, and we all need to stop it. Straight up and down. Anyway, this is it for me, and I wish it was it for her, but it won't be. So, do your due diligence. Once again, Street Mechanic, I'm out of here. Till the next one. Peace.